Palliatives are key to helping citizens endure the social and the economic impact of COVID-19 crisis globally.
Indeed, and to have a fighting chance against COVID-19 this season, there has been calls to the federal government of Nigeria to support the less privileged citizens with some reasonable amount of money, which will assist them in feeding during the period of lockdown.
While the Nigerian government is doing all they can to alleviate the sufferings of citizens, there are Nigerian individuals who have joined the fight against COVID-19 lockdown hunger by lending a helping hand.
Right, joining us now to discuss COVID-19 amid the lockdown is Ubi Franklin, an entrepreneur, investor, record label executive, who is presently the special advisor to the Cross River State Governor on tourism. Ubi, it's a pleasure talking to you. You can hear me, Ubi. Ubi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
It's a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, I can hear you very well. Good morning.
All right, good morning, Ubi. Ubi, it's a safe Cross River has got the Midas touch as regards fighting COVID-19. You guys have got no case in Cross River yet. What is it that Cross River is doing that we can learn from?
We immediately, my governor heard about what is going on in the country and the world. We quickly locked down our borders and made sure that everybody stayed within. And we were looking into the various ways that we could help the state and help our citizens stay safe. He made sure that every Cross River and every citizen was wearing a mask, and he set up the committee and made sure that all our borders were safe, because from Cameroon we had cases, from Akwa Ibom we had cases, and so we had to lock ourselves in and stay safe.
Mm. Well, Ubi, the biggest threat to the lockdown across the continent, or the extension of any lockdown, seems to be that of food security. And I do know that you have decided to ease such burdens by attempting to feed 20,000 people across Nigeria. May I ask you why that number of 20,000? And what are the modalities? What is the spread? How do you go about ensuring these are 20,000 people across Nigeria?
So what I've done is I understood that if we have to all move from one point to the other, it will be very dangerous for us, right? So I started making calls to food vendors that we popularly know as Mama Foods. Because in Nigeria, if you live in Lagos, if you live in part of Nigeria, you see that when you come out of your house, there's always a food vendor somewhere close to you that serves people. So what I did was, how much is a plate of food? It's between 250 and 300 naira. So how many people can 300 naira a plate of food feed? So at 120 people, that's 36,000 naira. And if a lot of friends and family have donated over 7 million naira to me, so what would I do with that money? The best thing to do is feed these people and give up money to as many vendors as possible to feed people across the country. As of today, we've done 11,600 people. And trust me, we're still going to continue. We're still going to push what we can do.
I think it's interesting that you went that route, because not only are you feeding people, you are also empowering these businesses who are, going through economic strife during this shutdown. Well, my next question to you is about Ubi Talks. Now, this is something that you've put together for businesses seeking funding, exposure, and mentorship. Can you run us through what this entails and what the feedback has been so far?
So, just a week before the national lockdown in the country, I was like, you know what, things are going to get to a point where we're all going to be at home, the same way that it's been happening across the world. So I spoke to a few of my team members. I was like, you know what, I want to start up something. And so I started talks with Ubi Franklin, so which is 5 weeks. We're 5 weeks now. 5 weeks now. So during the conversations, talking a lot of people about what they've been going through with during the COVID-19, I found out that a lot of people were doing Instagram lives. I felt like, okay, there's something that people are not doing, which is asking people what they are currently going through, small businesses, what they're currently going through. So I started up the pitch with Ubi Franklin, which I have a lot of donations as well to help businesses between 50,000 to 100,000. So we are currently doing $5,000 to businesses that we believe that can scale, especially essential people that render essential services. So yeah, so that's what we've got. But the feedback has been really good. We see that a lot of people are coming to learn. So So if you don't win the money, at least you learn something, or we give you exposure. There are a lot of people giving exposure on the show that are currently selling out. People are ordering food from them. People are ordering essential commodities from them. So it's been really good.
All right, Ubi, if you could hear me, I just want to talk about that very novel idea you just brought forward of giving mama puts on the street in local parlance. These are local street side food sellers. But
yes,
how did they open during this period? I want to understand the modalities because everybody was under a lockdown. And most of them, if I survey around Lekki and all of that, and the areas of the island, a lot of these people did not open. How did you coordinate with them? How did you give them the money? How did they deploy? How did they account for every one plate of the 11,600 plates you have given out to these people, 11,600 people you have fed? How did you do the logistics? Because that's very, very, very outstanding. And also, I want to ask you about corporate governance and due diligence. You said over 7 million naira got to you. Does Ubi Franklin have a foundation? Who are your auditors? Who are auditing this account? You know, is it a non-governmental organization and the likes? Because you have some very novel ideas that I want the world to learn from Ubi Franklin about.
Okay, first of all, I started seeing a lot of people going around different communities giving out food. And I felt like, for me, it's going to be risky. I've not seen my son for like 5 weeks because I felt like I should stay away from him because I'd attended a few meetings in Abuja just before the lockdown. And I felt like maybe I would have met somebody, you know, and all of that. So staying indoors, I saw a lot of pictures. People started sending me pictures. There's a mama food around my area. So I thought about it. I was like, why can't we give mama food money? How much is your food? So what I did was I started with Lekki Phase 1, where I currently live. I went around the mama puts around the Lekki Phase 1. I found out that there were people clustered around. They didn't have money to even buy the food. So I said, you know what? This is exactly what can be done. Mama Put, how are you? Okay, my staff is going to sit with you. Make sure you feed everybody until your food is finished. So some Mama Put were able to feed about 150 people, some 120, some 60, depending on the quantity of food they have. So from my own end, I was able to do that to the tune of about 4,000. Because going around every day, you know, I went to Ikota area. I guess somebody in Nigeria. So now we found out that, okay, there are a lot of food vendors that are around Nigeria that sell food for the same amount. So what I did was each food vendor got 50,000 naira. And I told them, I said, this 50,000 naira, if a bag of rice is 27,000 naira. So what I want you to do is each 50,000 naira you are giving should feed at least 150 to 200 people. Some we give them money to buy Indomie. So we said, you know what? Every individual should get 2 Indomie, right? So a carton of Indomie, there's one that is 40 and there's one that is 20. So the one that is 40, so each carton of Indomie will feed automatically 20 people. So if times that times like 500 cartons of Indomie, you can imagine the number of people that will actually feed. So those are the numbers. So Ubi Franklin doesn't have, I don't have a foundation yet, but I feel like it was a matter of urgency for my friends to come out and say, you know, Ubi, you are doing something great already on your Instagram. Let's see how we can plug onto what you are doing and feed as many people as possible. Now, if it comes to auditing, I have all the vendors, I have videos. I made sure they sent me videos of how many plates of food they were giving out. You video the process from when you went to the market to buy, from when you're preparing the food, and when you are dishing the food. So I have all those videos out. Uploaded a few on my Instagram, and also implementation when you are outside actually giving out this food. You know, so we did all that. Then in terms of you say in terms of audit, I know that I've even given out as much money and also put my hand inside a lot of my own savings to make sure that a lot of people are fed. So what we are continuing from today is we are going out to meet up with. So after every because of our Muslim brothers, so we want to start this feeding after they break their fast every evening. So that's what we're currently doing. So from now, we are going to start in the evening. So immediately after they break their fast, we start feeding as many people as possible.
Okay, indeed, desperate times call for desperate measures. But I'm not sure you responded to my first question, a part of it, when I asked about the specific spread and reach. Or do you have more concentration in a particular state because you're doing this across the country?
Oh.
Also, let me add to that because we'll go on a break very quickly. So when we return, you just answer both questions. The issue of crowd control and maintaining physical distance during an initiative such as yours that we have seen about is ubiquitous. It is difficult to maintain those things. So how has that been? How do you ensure that in trying to ease the burden of hunger, you are not creating another problem of spreading the virus? Ubi Franklin, stay with us. We're going to a quick break. When we return, you respond to those questions and some more. Join us again after this break. Welcome back. You're still watching the Morning Show here on the Rise News. And we're talking to Ubi Franklin, who's an entrepreneur, an investor, record label executive, special advisor to the Cross River State Governor on tourism. Thank you so much, Ubi, for staying with us. We're talking about palliatives, helping the needy at a time like this lockdown. And I asked you two questions, so to say, before that break. You want to respond to how you're maintaining physical distancing while sharing this food? And secondly, are there any specifics to the reach of the 20,000 people you're feeding across Nigeria, or are you focusing more on some states?
Okay, I've reached out. We have states that we've currently reached out. Calabar, we've reached out Cross River. We've done Abia, Imo, Rivers. We've done Kaduna, Kano. We've done Abuja. I know we've reached out to about 10 states. But in terms of physical distancing, the problem is these guys are hungry. There's nothing you do that they will listen to you. What they want to do is basically they want to just have their food. Even if you tell them, okay, listen, we have enough, it will reach out to everybody. It's always very, very difficult. So what we're basically doing is when we get there, we tell them, hey, this food is not from government. It's our personal effort. So please don't worry. We are going to reach out to you. The food will reach out to you as much as possible. So that's what we've been doing so far. That's it.
Okay, so let's talk about, let's just shift the conversation a bit. I mean, you are presently the special advisor to Cross River on tourism. So I'm curious to know what your take is. I mean, we do know that right now the tourism sector has been affected greatly. About 200 million people are waiting now to see if they'll still have their jobs post-COVID-19. So if you could suggest a tourism recovery strategy somewhat for Nigeria and even for Cross Rivers, what would it be?
For me, right now, it will be very tough to actually give a suggestion based on what we are currently going through. What is going to happen in the country in the world has not happened in a long time in our own lives. It has happened during the Spanish flu, but in our own lives, it hasn't happened. So if I'm giving you a suggestion right now, it will be something that we don't want to see, or maybe we might not want to hear when everything is out. You look at, for example, artists at home, they cannot perform, right? Mm-hmm. People are doing digital concerts and all of that. So what I would suggest right now is, if you ask me, is tourism is going to be affected internationally for the next at least 9 to 10 months. Nothing is going to happen till like maybe January, February next year. People are going to be scared of traveling. So I might not have a specific suggestion to give in terms of tourism, but I know that if you ask me what do you think people should be doing right now is to be investing in things like agriculture, because agritourism is going to strive better after the COVID-19, because people want to feed. That's what people want to do right now. Nobody's interested in going out to parties. Nobody's interested in traveling right now. People just want to feed. So tourism is secondary right now when it comes to a recovery plan after the pandemic. So that's what I think should be done. People should focus on feeding. People should focus on staying safe. You know, after that, I'm sure that tourism will fall in place and we'll do what we can do.
Right, Ubi, great work you're doing. I heard when you were talking initially in response to the first question. I heard you said you also give businesses $5,000 US.
Yes.
I'd like to know, and that's why I was a little bit shocked and taken aback that you don't have a foundation for all of this, because it's quite, whoa, it beats me. I'd like to know, what were the criterias you looked at giving those businesses that money? And what was the fairness criteria? Was it because people were close to you or they brought striking business ideas? And I'd also like to know, have you been able to invest in agri-businesses or agro-tourism businesses? You know why I ask that question? I ask because it's very difficult for a lot of investors to come into agriculture because a lot of them might not know the space and don't know the turnaround time. So I want to know the whole gamut of the $5,000 and how many businesses have you given? Quite exciting stuff you're doing. I want to learn from you, Ubi.
Okay, so basically what we've done is, while I was doing the Instagram Live every day, a friend reached out to me and said, yes, you've been giving out businesses 100,000 naira for them to help their businesses this period. But we believe that there are businesses that need more than 100,000 naira. So immediately what we did was go into start asking for applications. People came in. So the process is a live Instagram process. We pick you, you come, you tell us about your business, what you're currently doing, tell us your financials. So if you look at my paper this morning, I have actually listed out 13 businesses that we've picked out of over 70 businesses that we've interviewed. So what we're doing right now is, today we're starting the second phase of accreditation. So we get them on, we ask them more questions about their businesses, we narrow it down to 5. And then tomorrow we take on, and we're giving out this $5,000 to 2 businesses. And most of the businesses on our, that we've picked are actually agricultural businesses, people that are offering essential commodities, people that we believe that if this lockdown stays another 2 months, 3 months, they can still produce, they can still make sure that there's food sufficiency in the country. So the process is actually very, very transparent. You can watch, it's a live process on on my Instagram Live, so it's very, very, very transparent.
Is the $10,000 from your pocket, Ubi, or people are donating?
So it's a donation from a friend called the Black Mentor in America. Okay. So he's an investor in America. He works with the Trump campaign. He's one of the guys that work with it. He's a half Nigerian, half Ghanaian. So he saw what I was doing and he decided, he said, you know what, Ubi, I'm ready to give out $10,000 to 2 different businesses on your platform. And he's been part of the judges and we're following the process.
I mean,
so I'm a conduit to which these monies are being delivered to these people.
Okay, you're just a conduit for the money. Thanks, Ubi, for that. I appreciate you.
Okay, let's talk about possible extension, if you might. We just had the president of Nigeria yesterday extend the lockdown in Ogun, Lagos, and the Federal Capital Territory by 1 week, after which there would be a nationwide curfew. Would you be willing to expand the number of people you're feeding in this 1 week extension and beyond, as well as the business initiative to empower businesses? Would Ubi Franklin be expanding those?
Basically, I'm going to feed as many people as possible according to how my pocket would take, right? Because donations have come in, the donations are done. Right now, I'm feeding from my own pocket, right? You know, it's been tough. Most of my businesses are hospitality-related businesses, so it's been tough actually making these things happen, right? But we're going to do as much as we can do. For me, I really don't think that I really don't think that after a week, easing the lockdown or the curfew will really work. Our numbers are growing every day. We've not gone below 60. We've not gone below 16 cases every day in Nigeria. So I think that if you are easing the lockdown, it should be during the day because people don't work a lot during the night. So if people are going to work, it should be between. If people are going to work, it should be between 6 a.m. to maybe 2 p.m. And so we should condone as much people that come out every day, no matter how many people wear a face mask. If God forbid I'm infected, I sleep on my hand and put somewhere. Another person is going to come and touch it. Community spread is very, very, very dangerous. So I appreciate what the president is currently doing, but for me, what I'm doing right now is see how much I can help with people because security-wise, the people around you, if they are properly fed, you understand, you are secure. So I believe in community feeding. So feed the people around you, let others feed the people around you. You said we live in a country where the rich live around the poor. You understand? So that rich man should feed as many poor people around him. So another rich man should feed as many poor people around him, and you see that we'll be able to reduce the number of hungry people in the country.
Very quickly before we go, Ubi, I mean, you have spoken about feeding. However, I want to talk about expanding your operations to cover distribution of hand sanitizers and face masks. As of yesterday, there was an announcement made that Lagos State will be ordering face masks from Cross Rivers. Do you maybe think that this is something you could look into? The way you were able to pull together this Mama Puts, maybe look at local tailors coming together to make face masks for Lagosians and even beyond.
Okay, so let me focus on Cross River first. My governor built a garment factory, and he's built that garment factory in his first term. And right now, that garment factory has donated, as I yesterday, donated about 200,000 face masks to the federal government. And different state governments have been ordering face masks from them. We have 1,000 machines with staff working 24 hours. So they work different shifts. So what we've basically done is, if you look at what my governor has done so far, my governor was the first person to say no face masks, no movement. But he was criticized by a lot of people, especially Ruben Abati and the likes, right, on your program. But what I'll basically tell you is, if you go to my state, the governor has said every tailor, every fashion designer should produce as many face masks as possible. If you meet what the requirements are, the state will buy it off from you. So in my state, that is already going on. All the fashion designers in my state are currently making money right now from government by producing face masks to sell to government. Okay. While government has their garment factory where they are producing as many face masks as possible. So that is already going on, and I believe Lagos State can also do that.
Ubi, we're wrapping up things. We'd like to say a very big thank you. But I must have to tell you, Ubi, that a journalist has a right to make a fair comment based on his perception. So
let's be clear. The statement by the governor was that if you do wear face masks, you do not need social distancing.
So it's not a case about Ruben Abati now, right? I thank you so much for that, Ubi. Really appreciate you.